Hey everyone, Mitch coming from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So Commander Masters spoiler season, including the pre-cons, is over. So it's time to take a step back and just take in all of the new cards. And, well, it was a Masters set, and typically with Masters sets, there's all reprints. But this time they're doing a little bit differently, where they do have the pre-cons that do have some new cards in them. And, of course, that's new Commanders as well. There are only 8 new Commanders, so when I'm doing this tier ranking, it's going to be a lot shorter than previous ones. I mean, yeah, like Lord of the Rings, I think, again, had like 100-something total Commanders, right? New Commanders, absolutely crazy. Like, the main set had like 60 or so, and the pre-cons had like 40. I can't remember the exact numbers. It was crazy. This time there are 8, so it's going to go quite a bit quicker. Regardless, it's going to be interesting. I have not actually gone through previously and, actually placed these. I have actually, reviewed the Commanders before, but still. It's going to be interesting to see where each of these are placed. And of course, with these tier rankings, I'm going to take you through, well, there's going to be S tier, which is the top tier, all the way down to the D tier, which is the bottom tier. And yeah, your opinions on these commanders might differ from mine. This is coming from a casual perspective, though. Again, my casual perspective might differ from what yours is. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Regardless, I'd love to hear in the comments what your thoughts are on all this. So let's jump into it. First up, let's start with our Marthas Ghostfire Initiative, a brand new, exciting colorless commander. 0/0 Spirit Naga for XX. Enters the battlefield, X counters on it. Whenever you put one or more counters on another colorless creature, put a counter on a Marthas. When it dies, manifest a number of cards to the top of your library equal to the number of counters on it. I think this is a very exciting commander. It's one that can really benefit from, well, you going big mana. You can just get a ton of mana, dump it into this. Also get other creatures in play that, can get counters on them. Some repeatable effects could be great as well. You can keep in mind, does say 1 or more. So yeah, like a big, hey, get counters on everything is still only going to net you 1. That being said, you can get a lot of counters on this. You can make this into a big threat. And also, when this dies, and maybe it's even you who actually wants this to happen, maybe like a high market type effect, you can just pop it, and all of a sudden, a ton of manifested creatures, and that can be quite huge. So it does have some potential in that. That being said, compared to the other commanders that are in this, it might be lacking in some ways. And I will say that, hey, while I'm placing these, I might adjust throughout this, but just with its lack of, access to a lot of colors, obviously, or any colors, actually, that is kind of a downside to it. It's not kind of packing quite the punch I think it would need to kind of get out of that. So at this one, I'm very sorry about this. I think you're a really cool card, but I think I might even have to displace you in the D tier to start. So I am very sorry about that. So let's go. Moving on, we've got Leori Spark Touch Hunter. A 3/3 elemental cat with flying and vigilance for 3 mana in total in Jeskai. Whenever it deals combat to a player, choose a planeswalker type until end of turn. Whenever you activate an ability of a planeswalker of that type, copy that ability, choose targets for the copy. So this one is kind of like a very interesting new commander. It's not a planeswalker itself, but it's very much lends toward like a Super Friends build. One that is within 3 colors, so that's access to quite a few planeswalkers out there, and quite a few really good ones. And also kind of wants you to focus on certain ones. So like Jace Tribal, like Chandra Tribal, like just having like different ones and a good amount of them. The more of that same type of planeswalker that you have, the more benefit you're going to be getting when you get through this. And of course, yeah, you also are in colors that give you access to plenty of ways that give you double strike, like Duel's Heritage, a fantastic repeatable way to be like, hey, okay, I'm really take advantage of this combat damage trigger, hit again, get that twice. Also, extra combat spells you are in red, extra turn spells you are in blue. Ways to really take advantage of this. There can be some really gross plays that you make, really take advantage of all the planeswalkers that you have access to. And yeah, just being able to say, oh, okay, I'll activate my planeswalkers in double, triple, whatever you're going to be doing, essentially, once you are hitting for a lot with this. Yeah, again, it is limited to just 3 colors. I mean, I should say that in comparison to some of the other ones from this set. That being said, a very, very, very potent commander when it comes to one. If you are playing with I would say like a higher budget with this, because then you can really be like, yeah, I'll use every single one of the Jaces, even though some of them are very, very expensive. So yeah, I would say definitely between like a C and a B on this one, and it's going to depend on where the other ones land. But for right now, let's put Leori in the, oh gosh, let's go C for now. All right, we're going to go C for now. Maybe it's going to move up to a B, though. There's some really heavy hitters in this. Moving on, Commodore Guff. Commodore Guff is a Planeswalker commander, 5 starting loyalty for 1 in Jeskai colors. Beginning of your end step, put a loyalty counter on another target Planeswalker you control. So that's nice. Just an additional singular 1. That's nice. I mean, again, if you've got other Planeswalkers in play, just, hey, cool, get some loyalty. Get you probably up to your, ultimate quicker. +1, you get a 1/1 red register creature token with tap, add red. only to use, you know, that mana for a Planeswalker spell, that's okay. So again, like basically specific mana dorks. On top of that, -3, draw X cards, and Commodore Guff deals X damage to your opponent, X number of Planeswalkers you control. Even if you're kind of just using it for that, that can be pretty beneficial because you get a lot of Planeswalkers in play. You probably have some board wipes to ensure that they're protected. You get this in play, you immediately -3, draw a good amount of cards, dish out damage to your opponent's faces. That can be pretty effective. That being said, kind of like where this one's at, again, it is kind of dependent upon, well, it is dependent on budget, but it's really dependent upon, you know, your opponents and how easily effective they are at kind of taking out your Planeswalkers. If, you know, your Planeswalkers get dealt with, and there's plenty of ways to, you know, destroy all non-land permanents, your Planeswalkers are gone. It's gonna take a lot of time to rebuild to get this back out, to get actually value out of it, and yeah, it's just, I think it's definitely on the lower end. It's not quite the bottom again, but I think this is probably around the C tier, and it might even be lower than Leori. We shall see, though. Okay, moving on. Narcy Fablesinger, a 3/3 human bard with lifelink that costs 1 in Abzan colors. Whenever you sacrifice an enchantment, draw a card. Whenever the final ability of a saga you control resolves, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life for X that saga's mana value. This, in my opinion, is kind of like a reverse Enchantress in a way, where, yeah, instead of you know, drawing a card when you get that enchantment in play or whenever you cast that enchantment, it's whenever the enchantment is leaving play, whenever that enchantment is sacrificed, and there's plenty of enchantments that can be sacrificed. Obviously, you can go Saga Tribal with this. I actually personally think that if you focus heavily on sagas, if you're focusing just on sagas, I think that actually that's a weaker approach, in my opinion, not as strong of an approach as just saying, you know what, I'm going to utilize low to the ground enchantments that I can sacrifice. You know, there's plenty of enchantments out there that just say, like, sacrifice this, like, seal of, I think, cleansing or removal, not removal. Anyways, sacrifice, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or, you know, those, like, enchant lands. There's like, okay, cool, it can tap for one of any color, but also when you sacrifice, you draw a card. You can just, like, kind of double cantrip with a lot of your enchantments and get a ton of value out of them. Getting value when you're casting them, getting value from whatever draws they might have, getting value when they're leaving, utilizing things to get them back out of your graveyard, just, you know, just getting all of your enchantments back out right into play, sacrificing again. This can give you an absurd amount of value, and of course, taking advantage of Constellation, taking advantage when enchantments are coming into play. Yes, these sagas are a nice way to go too, and you can utilize some of them, in my opinion. Sure, you're going to be draining your opponents, but also you can finish your opponents off much quicker, in my opinion, if you're utilizing just like a Enchantress, you know, Enchantress on one side and like other side of Enchantress kind of strategy, again, with the in and out, essentially. So I think there's a lot of ways that you can really take advantage of enchantments with this. I think there's a lot of powerful things you can do with this, and yeah, you're in some really good colors to take advantage of that and really take advantage of all the enchantments that you've got access to as well. I think actually, again, with the incredible amount of just card advantage that this can generate you with the right build, and again, enchantment reducing effects, that too, getting them back, recasting, that kind of stuff, I think that Narcy actually, in my opinion, might be an A tier commander. I might adjust that here in a little bit because, yeah, maybe this is a B commander, but yeah, maybe I'm giving too much you know, hope for Narcy, but I think Narcy, again, can just have some absolutely nasty plays once you get things going. Moving on, Enoch Thea, there we go, Hand of Erebos, maybe that's right. 4/4 Menace, Demigod, 4/2 in Abzan colors, or other enchantment creatures you control have Menace, that's nice. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, eggs up to 1, target non-or enchantment card from your graveyard, create tokens to copy that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie to other card types. This is really interesting because, well, you are getting free value out of this. I mean, it is based off attack and based off of ETB. ETB is probably much easier to really take advantage with this. I mean, think of like Ephemerate. That's a 1 mana blink spell, kind of like a Cloud Shift, but you get it twice. So just getting that twice for 1 mana, being able to exile 2 enchantments out of your graveyard. Yeah, probably finding some ways to just, you know, tutor them into your graveyard, like Entomb kind of cards, or essentially just, you know, discard them in some different ways, getting enchantments in your graveyard, some like high cost ones. I mean, think about Song of the World Soul plus this, absolutely gross. I think Eddie actually pointed that one out to be a pretty perfect one, because being able to populate with those enchantment creatures, like those zombie versions of them, awesome. Just be able to populate that, get more copies of them. There's some pretty powerful things that you can do with this one. It does require some setup to do so, though. I do think that it has a lot of potential. I do think, though, that to me, this is kind of more of a middle-of-the-road commander. I might even be kind of undervaluing the Planeswalker commanders and overvaluing something like this. I do think there's a lot of powerful enchantments out there, though, and again, populate is definitely a way that you can really take advantage of this a ton. So I think Enoch Thea, I'm going to have to throw you in the B tier for now, so we shall see, again, where that ends up. Maybe I'm going to adjust these here in a little bit. Moving on, though. Ruka Rumel. I always mess up on the names. Biologist, a 3/3 even wizard for 5 mana in total. Every single color, Wooburg colors. As enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Slivers you control are non-token creatures you control the chosen type in addition to other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that are on the battlefield. Pay 3 tab, create a 1/1 color Sliver creature token. This is a commander that's basically like, hey, Sliver tribal, but also whatever other ancillary tribe you want. Essentially, pick probably one other tribe and say, you know what? Okay, I've got slivers. I also have goblins. And then all of a sudden I can take advantage of Cranko and just say like, oh yeah, my slivers are also goblins now. So therefore, hey, I'll tap, my Cranko, get a ton of goblins. You can really take advantage of a lot of great Lord and Anthem effects when it comes to other tribes. You can pick dragons, you can pick other ones. Whatever, tribe you want to pick, just throw that into slivers, which are already very powerful. Yeah, this commander can definitely pack a punch. And on top of that, sure, just pay 3 tap, make a sliver. What's not to love about that as well? I think overall, a pretty heavy hitting sliver commander. Again, Sliver's already powerful. Adding another creature type to it can be very powerful as well. You kind of got to be careful with what you're doing with it, though. But I think overall, an A-tier commander, in my opinion. Moving on. Speaking of slivers, we've got Sliver Gravemother. 6/6 Sliver. The legend rules apply to slivers you control. Nice. 5 mana in total again. Wooburg. Each Sliver creature card in your graveyard has Encore X for X its mana value. Encore 5, which of course again Encore means exile this card from your graveyard for each opponent. Create a token that's copy and attacks that opponent Fable. They gain haste, sacrifice, begin next end step, activate almost a sorcery. Yeah, I mean, being able to encore your slivers out is massive because, again, your slivers typically are just like Lord effects that help all your slivers. And just being able to have some massive plays like that, like, just think about Megantic Sliver. If that's in your graveyard, again, that's like +3/+3 to your slivers, right? That's in your graveyard, encore for 6, do so. All of a sudden, you get 3 copies of that, and now you're getting +9/+9 to all of your creatures. That is massive. That is huge. And of course, keep in mind all the other, massive slivers. And the legend rules apply to slivers you control. You can just clone your slivers now and just say, you know what? Oh yeah, sure. I really wanted Sliver Overlord. I want another copy of that one. Cool. You can do some absolutely crazy things with this. Slivers, again, are already a very powerful, very, very powerful creature type, and I think what this adds to that is huge. Sure, the other Sliver commander is nice and be able to add, other kinds of creatures, but just focusing heavily on slivers and giving you the legend rules apply. So again, you can just clone your best slivers, and then also you can encore giant things out, including your legendary slivers. Absolutely gross. So I think Sliver Gravemother, overall, I think this is the S tier commander out of all these. It is an absolutely incredible commander, one that I am afraid to go up against. Again, I think the kind of main kind of thing I think about when I'm doing like these, tier rankings is like, what am I really afraid to go up against? And I think this one I would be most afraid of if I sat down at a table and I saw this. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to be ready with all of my graveyard removal or I am in massive trouble. Finally, though, how about Zul'Dok Void Gorger, 7/4 Eldrazi, 4/5, and a colorless. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater of Cascade. So, yeah, lots of value. Again, cascading basically means reveal from the top of your library to reveal something that costs less, cast it for free. When you're doing that twice, again, you could cast a 7-mana spell, a 7-mana colorless spell, which again, all your spells are going to be colorless. You're in a colorless deck. You can cast a 7-mana spell and hit a 6-mana value, 6-mana value. So you could just get, what, like 20? Is it 20? No, 19. I think it's 19, right? 12 plus 7. Yeah, there we go, 19. You can get 19 mana value worth for, I mean, not free, but for 7, essentially. You're just getting so much extra value off the top of your library. And of course, there are ways to use and abuse this. You've got ways to bounce things back to your hand, recast massive things that might have some massive triggers, like, some of the Eldrazi that have cast triggers. Yeah, I mean, with the right build, you need to go really heavy into a lot of ramp with this, but yeah, there's plenty of ways to do so. Get a ton of ramp out there, get some massive things out. Again, you might throw a lot of Eldrazi in there, and you can just get a ton of extra value off the top of your library. Again, the main thing holding this back is you are in colorless. So, yeah, I mean, you do have kind of a limited pool when it comes to the amount of cards. Obviously, you've got some really good ones, though, with Eldrazi you can really take advantage of. And again, being in a colorless deck, you can utilize a lot of utility lands, too. There's again, some upsides when it comes to being in a colorless build as well. This provides you an absurd amount of value throughout the game. I think overall, I mean, this one, I think I'm like kind of like it's kind of like a B plus in my opinion, like a B plus to A, but I think I'm gonna go with a B tier. Looking at it right now, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, the one kind of like question mark in my mind is like either those Planeswalker commanders, maybe I'm not giving them enough credit, I think. Maybe switching them into a B tier role, maybe 1 or 2 of them essentially, but I think overall I feel pretty good about this. Again, there's a lot of potential with each of these and how they're built. It really depends kind of in some of them too, like, like what group you're playing with and like what their build patterns are, what like is acceptable with what kind of build patterns there are. And yeah, we shall see though. This is just my opinion again on these tiers, and yeah, I feel pretty good about them. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on my picks. What would your picks be? What did I get so wrong? What did I get so right? So yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on these tiers. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.